Advancement of civilization, an essential subject from Vinipedia in the age of Kali. People derive pleasure by engaging in material activities in the name of progress, which they believe is the advancement of human civilization. However, instead of advancing, the result is that the living entities become degraded and more addicted to sense gratification. This makes one forget his real identity as the eternal part and parcel and servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. By a slight cultivation of the mode of goodness, a glimpse of one's spiritual nature can be perceived. However, due to false ideas about advancement of civilization, people have no interest in the real goal of life or awakening their Krishna consciousness. Real advancement of civilization is attained by enlightening people about the Lord and His transcendental nature. Srila Prabhupada's books, lectures, conversations and letters offer a comprehensive presentation of this essential subject as seen in the Vinicote's Advancement of Civilization category. An introduction from his books is given below in the following 10 quotes. Quotes from Srila Prabhupada's books. Advancement of civilization is estimated not on the growth of mills and factories to deteriorate the finer instincts of the human being, but on developing the potent spiritual instincts of human beings and giving them a chance to go back to Godhead. Development of factories and mills is called ugra karma, or pungent activities, and such activities deteriorate the finer sentiments of the human being and society to form a dungeon of demons. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.11 12. The conception of worldly opulence was formerly based mainly on natural resources such as jewels, marble, silk, ivory, gold and silver. The advancement of economic development was not based on big motor cars. Advancement of human civilization depends not on industrial enterprises, but on possession of natural wealth and natural food, which is all supplied by the Supreme Personality of Godhead so that we may save time for self-realization and success in the human form of body. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.9 62. Advancement of material civilization on the basis of sense gratification means increasing the duration of the material existence of a living entity. Therefore, this lust is the symbol of ignorance by which the living entity is kept within the material world. While one enjoys sense gratification, it may be that there is some feeling of happiness, but actually that so-called feeling of happiness is the ultimate enemy of the sense enjoyer. Bhagavad Gita 3.39 The living beings are eternal, and they have their eternal need. If one engages only in caring for the necessities of the body, not caring for the eternal necessities of life, then he is part of a civilization whose advancement puts the living entities in the darkest region of ignorance. Sleeping in that darkest region, one does not get any refreshment, but rather, gradually becomes fatigued. He invents many processes to adjust this fatigued condition, but he fails and thus remains confused. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.29 5. As long as human society is in darkness and ignorance, men will continue to make huge arrangements in the bodily conception of life. This is described by Praldama Arya as Param. In the materialistic conception, modern civilization makes enormous arrangements for huge roads, houses, mills and factories, and this is man's conception of the advancement of civilization. People do not know, however, that at any time they themselves may be kicked out of the scene and forced to accept bodies that have nothing to do with these enormous houses, palaces, roads and automobiles. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.2 60. Material advancement of civilization means advancement of the reactions of the threefold miseries due to celestial influence, earthly reactions and bodily or mental pains. By the celestial influence of the stars there are many calamities like excessive heat, cold, rains or no rains, and the after effects are famine, disease and epidemic. The aggregate result is agony of the body and the mind. Man-made material science cannot do anything to counteract these threefold miseries. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.14 10. Materialistic inventions are considered to be advancement of human civilization, but the result is that people grow more and more violent and more cruel to animals and cruel to other human beings. They have no idea how to behave toward one another. Animal killing is very prominent amongst demoniac people. Such people are considered the enemies of the world because ultimately they will invent or create something which will bring destruction to all. Bhagavad Gita 16.9 One should not create artificial needs. That will help one be satisfied with the minimum. Artificial needs of life are activities of the senses. The modern advancement of civilization is based on these activities of the senses, or, in other words, it is a civilization of sense gratification. Perfect civilization is the civilization of the or the soul proper. The civilized man of sense gratification is on an equal level with animals because animals cannot go beyond the activities of the senses. Above the senses is the mind. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.7:18. Human society means that society which is making progress towards spiritual realization. The most advanced human society was known as Riya. Riya refers to those who are advancing. So the question is, which society is advancing? Advancement does not mean creating material necessities unnecessarily and thus wasting human energy in aggravation over so-called material comforts. Real advancement is advancement towards spiritual realization, and the community which acted toward this end was known as the Ryan civilization. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.21. 52-54. Every state and every society is busy trying to improve the quality of eating, sleeping, mating and defending. This human form of life is meant for more than these four animal principles. Eating, sleeping, mating and defending are problems found in the animal kingdom, and the animals have solved these problems without difficulty. Why should human society be so busy trying to solve these problems? The difficulty is that people are not educated to understand this simple philosophy. They think that advancement of civilization means increasing sense gratification. Kaitanya Karatam Ta, Madhya LL 19.159.